I have forgiven myself for not being perfect. That is the first step into enjoying who you are as a woman. I'm in my 50s and I've never felt more like myself than I do now. And so many people feel like once you hit a certain age, you should calm down and sit in a chair. Be the age that you are, but that's being you still. You don't have to change. And I get really, I get sad for people who feel they have to do that. You know, you need to, now you're 40, now you're 50. You need to start revamping your whole life because the calendar says, I need to, now is the day that I need to start acting 50. Okay. And there's a wonderful thing. I'm not saying like, try to pretend that we're not aging, because I love aging. Aging is a beautiful thing because the opposite is not. So it's a blessing to age. Learn from past mistakes and you've corrected that path, and just overall growth and maturity. And you have a lot to offer, a lot more to experience, a lot more to learn. There's more pages in your book to fill up. So even if you're 70 years old, no one should be saying, act your age. Be who you feel like inside. And I don't think that's wrong. You should just be who you are inside, and just, that's what makes you happy, because you're being authentic. You're being your authentic self, and it's funny because it's like, act your age. Well, the person I was at 25 or 30, she didn't disappear when I turned 50. I still like a lot of the same things that I like then, even as a teenager. I'm a grandmother, okay? And my grandkids see me and they come in my closet and they're like, wow, they think it's like a little Disneyland, because they didn't expect it. You can do things that you couldn't do 20 years ago, and you're just enjoying your life. If I can afford to buy a certain dress now that I may not have been able to buy 20 years ago, or a bag, and it makes me feel fun and vibrant, I'm gonna do it, because that's me, and I'm not trying to impress anyone. It's just something that makes me happy and feel cute, and and I just think that's okay. But yeah, age is just a number. There's no handbook of, when you turn 40, when you turn 50. If there's a handbook on that, I didn't check that book out of the library. I left it there. I just want to always be me, and a better me. I know some 70-year-olds that are more vibrant than some 30-year-olds that I know act your age. They are acting their age. They're a certain age and they're acting the way that they're supposed to be. They're enjoying the things that they want to enjoy, and that's okay. And I hope that you guys, if you're hearing that, or I'm not telling you what to do or change yourself or whatever, but if you feel the way that I felt about these topics, I just want you to know that, we all hear that sometimes. You need to act your age, or you may hear somebody say that about another person. She needs to act her age. Well, she is acting her age, and she's not hurting anybody, so let people be, and it's okay. This has been kind of fun to talk about it, because I started thinking about just my life through the years, and the types of clothes that I've always liked, the makeup, the big hair. I've always liked big hair, but I switch up and, back and forth, and just do what I want to do. So, and I hope you do the same. So you see, I really embrace being me, and I look at other women and they are mature and they are gorgeous and beautiful. And I'm not even only talking about their external. It is just, you can see the glow that they are full of acceptance and embracing themselves and embracing their story and loving their beauty, their makeup, their style. You see here, I have just really embraced the makeup that I've always loved, because there was a time when I didn't, because I felt I was being too much for people, but I changed that and I put a fast halt to it to be myself. So living with intention, prioritizing my self-care physically and your emotional, that's so important. And just don't change because the decades of experience and growth has brought you to this beautiful place, and you want to just always remain you. I love the sparkles. I love the whole glamour thing. I wrote my first book and published when I was in my 40s. And then when I was in my early 50s, I hit the bestsellers with my breast cancer story. I wrote my story and I hit the bestsellers on Amazon. And it meant so much to me because if I had listened to the I'm past it, or, you hit a wall, that's ridiculous. There is no wall. And if there's a wall, I've certainly knocked through it, as have many others. So don't listen to things like that. But you have to take care of yourself. You have to protect your peace with boundaries, and don't have any apologies for it. Because having that peace of heart and peace of mind, that's what's making you glow, and that's what's contributing to being your beautiful self. So ladies in your, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, we are the blueprint. And we should feel good about it, and don't ever forget that. The young women coming up, we're setting an example, showing them how it's done. You don't have to rush and do everything in your life before you're 30 or 40 or 50, because you can still be you. So keep on keeping on. Wear all the glam you want and go on your beautiful trips. And as long as you are not hurting God, nothing else matters.